Welcome, Master Brokers. It is really lovely to see you all, even if it's only virtual. I hope that those of you who have your videos muted will unmute just to give us a big shout out and say hello. I'd also like to welcome our new members. We have a few Miami MBF members joining us as well. Thank you very much. And a special thank you to our esteemed panelists for this presentation. What an extraordinary time we have lived through over the past year. This pandemic has impacted all of us, our homes, our businesses, our lifestyles, our early morning walks, including this incredible surge in sales and pricing, particularly in the luxury sector. Our South Florida realtor community should be proud of the way we quickly pivoted and are presently taking full advantage of the challenges and opportunities presented by these unusual circumstances. So what happens next when inventory depletes? Bubble, boom, or is this as good as it gets? While we may see the light at the end of the pandemic tunnel, it is vital that we continue, of course, to wear our masks, follow the National Association of Realtors, public health officials' directive and social distancing. And sadly, this year, we have to acknowledge the tragic passing of longtime members, Master Broker Pioraci, due to COVID in December, as well as last year's untimely passing of Recall. They will both be greatly missed. Please know that we are eager to get together in person for Master Brokers events and plan to resume them as soon as it's safe to do so. I know we're all talking about it. We have many more presence and attendees when we can do what we do, provide education, networking. We're doing a lot more business in person than we are on our Zoom calls. So hopefully we'll give you enough great substance today. For the purpose of this Zoom meeting, everyone is going to be muted except for, as Jason mentioned, myself, our sponsor, moderator, Jim Balestreri, and of course, our esteemed panelists. At certain points, we're going to spotlight screens so that you will be able to see information more clearly. We invite you to use Zoom's chat feature to submit questions to the panelists. We will monitor and attempt to answer in real time. 2 quick housekeeping notes before we proceed. We'd like to thank everyone who's already paid their membership dues for 2021. If you have not, kindly do so. And as always, I'd like to recognize Rich Campanella and Wells Fargo. Is Rich on? I do not see you, Rich.
I don't see Rich.
Rich just closed on my mortgage. I wanted to say thank you. Rich and Wells Fargo, thank you so much for your incredible service, your support of the Master Brokers Forum. And Rich and his team continue to work some mortgage miracles during this unusual time. And I encourage you to call him with anything. Now, it is my great honor to introduce our sponsor, which I'm personally involved, as you know, the residences at the Mandarin Oriental in Boca Raton. I have had the great pleasure of working with our brand new managing director of Penn, Florida, overseeing all of Via Meisner, which encompasses the Mandarin Oriental Hotel, the residences at the Mandarin, Via Meisner Golf and Country Club, and so much more. Gerard Van Grinsven has been in the global service industry as an executive in both the hospitality and healthcare industries, with over 35 years of experience working in 9 different countries. You wouldn't know it because he looks younger than all of us and more energy and more enthusiasm. 20 plus years with the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company, including responsibility for the company's global food, beverage, and culinary operations. Former president of the Henry Ford Health System in Detroit, where he led the development of one of the most widely acclaimed hospitals in the country, having positioned the facility as a community health center, focusing on enhancing the well-being of residents. Gerard is the former president and CEO of Cancer Treatment Centers of America, a national network of 10 hospitals and clinics serving over 15,000 patients annually. He achieved some of the highest patient satisfaction scores in all of healthcare. His leadership under CTCA, Cancer Treatment Centers of America, became the third most admired hospitality system in America behind Mayo Clinic and Johns Hopkins Medicine. His success is based on an understanding of the culture of the customer. It's with this in mind, his customer service and magnitude of leadership, that we are honored to have him lead the charge at the Mandarin Residences. Gerard, I would love to hear your vision and share with our extraordinary group how the Mandarin is coming to life and how you see the continued growth.
Well, thank you, Caroline, and welcome to everybody. I'm very honored to address you today because I've been told that you are the best in your field, and I'm thrilled to spend some quality time with you. I came to Boca Raton because of this project. I'm extremely impressed with the vision of wanting to really create excellence here in Southeast Florida, in particular in Boca Raton. So as I only have 5 minutes to address you, let me kind of walk you through what we are trying to accomplish here in Boca Raton and how bit by bit we also attracting the right professionals to help me to execute this extraordinary project. It's called Via Meissner. It's a 2 million square foot development of an urban resort right in the heart of Boca Raton downtown. It's composed, as you heard, of the residencies at Mandarin Oriental, the Mandarin Oriental Hotel itself, as well as the Via Meissner Golf and City Club, the shops at Via Meissner, as well as 101 Via Meissner, which is a luxurious apartment complex. So let me quickly go into the residencies. We have 88 residencies, which are priced from 2.3 million and up. We are going to be part of 8 worldwide locations, the Mandarin residencies, and by the way, there are another 7 under development. The features of those beautiful residencies will have private elevators, will large floor plans with extensive living area, very generous terraces. It will have sweeping ocean, golf course, and city views. It will have custom designed kitchen cabinetry and high-end gemstone countertops throughout the residencies. It also will have a state-of-the-art home technology component, which all of you know is so crucial. So let me quickly talk about Mandarin Oriental, because still there are many people out there who still don't really know the specifics, what an incredible brand the Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group is. And by the way, my career started at the Mandarin, worked at the Oriental in Bangkok, which at that time was voted best hotel in the world by institutional investors as well as Condé Nast. So Mandarin for 60 years has really been established as luxury leader in hospitality. Its flagship is in Hong Kong. It's a stunning hotel. It has 33 hotels across 26 countries. What's really unique about the Mandarin Oriental is the only 5-star luxe hotel group which has the highest amount of Michelin star restaurants in its portfolio. So they have 25 Michelin star restaurants. They have 21 Forbes 5-star hotel awards and 40 Forbes 5-star spa awards. They also have 31 celebrity fans, people you know every single day, whether they are actors, or whether they are entertainers or sports people. They're very focused on sustainability. energy efficiency, and reducing its carbon emission. So this kind of quality hotel group is now coming to Boca Raton. And it will be one of 5 locations in the United States. We will have 164 very well-appointed rooms and suites. We'll have a signature rooftop restaurant with an outdoor terrace and bar, a pro bar and a lounge. It's going to be a very unique pro bar and lounge. And it will have 2 rooftop pools. The food and beverage component of this hotel will be extraordinary because you might maybe know Boca Raton has incredible food and beverage offerings, but not at the level and Oriental is going to bring to us. And me being foodie and me having opened around about 140 restaurants, you can be assured I will be involved in making sure that the quality and the innovation and the creativity will be there. So what are the benefits of ownership for the residency? Well, they will have 24-hour Mandarin, Oriental, concierge and doorman accessibility and availability, 24-hour valet services, exclusive access to the Mandarin, Oriental, Boca Raton via a sky bridge connecting the 2 buildings, daily housekeeping, in-room dining, home care, of course, full maintenance, and preferred access to the spa at Mandarin Oriental, Boca Raton. Then we also have the Via Meissner Gold Club, 2 very distinct venues in one private club experience. Number 1, the golf club. Our golf club is located 5 minutes west of residencies. Jack Cloud's 18-hole signature golf course. We have tennis courts, fitness center, resort pools, children's playground, and a world-class dining. And again, in that dining area, you will not find what you normally find in a golf club. This will be Michelin star signature type of food and beverage offerings. The second component of the Via Meissner Gold Club will be the City Club. And the City Club is located within the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. It is a member-only club room and lounge. It will have private dining rooms with very interactive kitchen, wine tasting areas, cheese tasting, and a kids club. And in addition, members will receive preferred access to all the amenities, the spa at the Mandarin Oriental, and of course the state-of-the-art athletic club we're going to create. So you put all these components together, you're now going to create a very unique luxury destination where everything is about surprising and delighting the customer. Everything is focused on taking them beyond the boundaries of imagination of what true service should be about. My perspective on the luxury hotel market in the US is that they have lost their touch in making individualized approaches in surprising and delighting each customer. I would like to bring this to this project and really create an experience blueprint you simply cannot find anywhere else, so that these beautiful buildings will really come alive because of the experience blueprint we create. So with that, that's my kind of quick update on the project. I sincerely hope one day I can meet you face to face so we can break some bread and maybe enjoy a glass of wine. But thank you so much for allowing me to share with you the exciting news of Boca Raton.
Thank you very, very much, Gerard. Really, it's a great honor. I invite you all, if you have not been. We have something really special and even more extraordinary with our new managing director. So thank you, Gerard. At this moment, let me turn this over to our extraordinary moderator, Jim Balestreri. Jim has been my friend, colleague, and fellow Master Broker Forum board member, founding for quite some time. We all know Jim as the innovative owner of Balestreri Real Estate and Integrity Title, along with his brother Joe. Jim is considered a luminary among real estate experts, this we know, serving as former president of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Realtor Association, a longtime director of Florida Realtors, and current Florida Realtor Executive Committee member. Prior to joining Balestreri Real Estate, Jim was a project manager and estimator for a major commercial general contracting firm and holds his Florida GC license. Jim has earned his certified residential broker and CIPS designations. Jim has also been an outstanding source of inspiration and motivation this year. So please join me in thanking and welcoming Jim Balestreri.
Thank you, Carolyn. I think the most that I've really gained is from all of you and all the fellow realtors across the state of Florida and across the country. I'm so humbled by your friendship and being your colleague, and I say that with the most sincerity. Carolyn, greetings to all of our master broker members. This discussion is going to take a high energy look at what we can expect in the market for the remainder of 2021. As the moderator, I'll ask our wonderful panelists a few big picture questions, as well as taking some deep dives into some specific sectors and neighborhoods. We anticipate the discussion to take about 45 minutes to complete. As Carolyn mentioned, I'll endeavor to take questions from the chat room as well from time to time. Please note that we are video recording this discussion, and we will distribute it in the coming days at the Master Broker social media, and we will also email it to you. Be aware that the chat room comments are also included in this recording.
You'll use your data plan, calling audio, we'll use your phone, your minutes.
And now let's introduce our amazing panel. First, we'll introduce Anna Bozovic, is the founder and owner of Analytics Miami. Anna, for the past 4 years, she's been publishing long-term trends analysis of the South Florida real estate market. Anna is a governor of the Miami Association of Realtors and is a Florida Realtor State Director representing the association. Her reports are outcome agnostic and are published with the intent of bringing truth and clarity to the market. They are entirely data-driven and have been at times been contrary to the mainstream narrative, especially in regards to the residential markets. In her reports, Anna charts the whole market cycle and emphasizes supply and demand fundamentals across these market segments. Anna studied math and physics at Columbia University. Her reports draw upon her abilities to see past the noise to recognize patterns in data. Would you help us welcome Anna? Welcome, Anna. Carolyn Block-Ellard has served as the chair of the Gold Coast Master Brokers Forum since its founding in 2005, and currently serves as the Senior Vice President of Sales for residents of Mandarin Oriental, Boca Raton. Prior to joining the developer of the Mandarin Oriental in Florida, Carolyn served as principal and CEO of Premier Sales Group and has overseen $4 billion with a B in sales, representing developers of South Florida's most recognizable, prestigious condominiums, condominium hotels, condominium conversion developments. Additionally, Carolyn has served as managing director for Compass New Developments, Florida. Carolyn began her career in real estate managing the sales force for several prominent New York properties and was later to join the legendary Sunshine Group as director of sales and eventually becoming the broker of record for Florida. In 1993, Carolyn and her former partner opened the Sunshine Group Florida division, later establishing Premier Sales Group in 2000. Our very own Carolyn Block-Ellard. Welcome, Carolyn.
Thank you, Jim.
Master Broker Mike Pappas, colleague, friend, is the president of the Kai's Company Illustrated Properties, a Miami-based real estate company with 50 branches, 3,300 sales associates, mortgage, title, insurance, property management affiliates, The sales in excess of $7 billion annually with a B. Kai's company is one of the largest independent brokerage firms in the United States. Mike joined Kai's as a sales associate in 1980 and held a variety of positions, including general sales manager until taking over as president in 1992. Mike has been the recipient of numerous awards and designations, including the YPO Legacy Award, the Real Estate Up-and-Comer of the Year by Price Waterhouse, the Best Real Estate Deal of the Year by South Florida Magazine. The past 4 years, Mike was named in the national top 200 most powerful people in real estate by a Swamp Poll Power 200. He's also been included in Florida Trend 500 as the influential business leader in real estate 3 years in a row since 2018. Please welcome our friend, colleague, and fellow master broker, Mike Pappas. Welcome, Mike. So let's begin. So we put together a series of questions here. We're going to dive right in, and I'll direct the questions to a specific panelist or perhaps to all three. So this first question will be directed to all three, Anna, Carolyn, and Mike. The question is, have we reached the summit of the South Florida real estate market resurgence? Some numbers suggest it may have come in December of 2020, but others predict a robust return of foreign buyers as COVID gets under control. Your thoughts, panelists? Carolyn, why don't you start out?
Sure. I do not believe we have reached the summit. I would anticipate a summit. I think we have another 6 months to a year. I think, based on inventory supply, we'll talk about a little bit later. As it relates to a surge of foreign buyers, once COVID restrictions ease up, we are seeing flight capital that's anxiously awaiting its arrival in South Florida, particularly Mexico and Brazil. I would anticipate not a flood, but I think we'll see a nice return.
So we've not reached the summit, 6 months to a year. Mike, why don't you weigh in on that? Have we reached the summit, or what's it look like?
I guess I don't know what the summit means. I mean, so if you're saying, have we reached the pinnacle of pricing? Have we reached the number of units being sold? So I guess what I can say is that we still are in COVID and we've been in COVID for a year. So the question to the panel, and you've got an esteemed group here of top producers, and thanks to Carol and you, Jim, for creating this network, because I think that's really the advantage that people are having in this tight market of knowing and connecting with the right people. So I guess the question is in the summer and the fall, when people are finished with COVID, they've got their vaccines and the market's opening up, is that going to give us an additional surge? I would think so. I think there's a lot of money sitting on the backside of it. If we can, as Carolyn said, if we can get the inventory, I think there's no question that you'll see a robust numbers moving forward. The millennials are in their highest buying period right now. There's 5 million 33-year-old millennials coming due this year, 5 million coming through next year, and 5 million of millennials coming through the next year. So 15 millennials at their peak buying season at 33, 34 are pushing us to that same market. So I think it's kind of blue skies ahead. We'll talk a little bit more about the rising interest rates that now have started to exceed 3%. That may slow it down, but there's no question that there's a lot of wind to our sails.
Mike, do you see any more inventory? How can we get more inventory to marketplace?
Yeah.
That seller not selling?
Yes, Mike, tell us that.
I mean,
Yeah, well, that's the $1 million question. I mean, I think so. That's what I'm saying. What's the summit? If there's low inventory, there's going to be rising prices, and there's low inventory and there's way more demand. I read a statistic that homes under $500,000 in South Florida, like 58% of them had multi-offers, which you all know. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. So you can peel back 1, 2, 3 buyers for the inventory that we have. So that's going to be putting the pressure on pricing because inventory is so low. I do think, I hope there was a survey done about COVID that people are still hesitant. They list their markets during COVID for all the reasons we know. So will that open up the market? Will the rising prices slow the market down and let us start absorbing? NAR's predicting more unit sales. Everybody's predicting more unit sales. So in a sense, I do think that we could have a record-breaking year this year, but we're all going to find out. It's like Carmack. Johnny Carson. What do we know when we really think about it? But Anna's got the stats, so let's hear Anna's answer.
Anna.
Hey everyone, thank you. I agree with my co-panelists have said. To take a little bit of a step up and put this in a macro perspective, I think that what's going on is bigger than real estate and bigger than just COVID. COVID was kind of the trigger. I think we're in the early stages of a major shift in how people live and work in the world. If you look at history, every 100 years looks different, right? Think about it. The 20th century was far different than the 19th century. And we've been living in this post-World War II world of these epicenters that were built before the internet, like the financial center of New York, Silicon Valley, all these things. And we got the internet and we incorporated it into existing infrastructure because our habits are sticky. If we were to blow everything up and rebuild offices, rebuild all the stuff with the internet, it would look different. And that's actually what's happening a little bit now. We disrupted habits entirely by closing everything. And then a sizable percentage of people realized that they don't have to go to work every day. That was the old model. And we've kind of accelerated everyone into the internet age. And South Florida is on the receiving end of that positive momentum for many reasons. So that's one factor. The other factor I want to talk about is that momentum is a real force. We have positive momentum here. The places that our buyers are coming from, that our domestic buyers are coming from, like New York, have negative momentum. And that's not going to go away when COVID passes, whatever that means, actually. By that, I mean budget shortfalls, policies that are increasingly hostile to capital, that are kicking capital out. I'm apolitical. I'm a registered independent, so it's not meant to go either way. But the mayor of New York quotes Karl Marx to the press. I mean, he really does. I'm not making this up. California keeps threatening with retroactive exit taxes, all these things. And so it's like a 1-2 punch. They're kicking capital out at the same moment that habits have been disrupted and people have realized they can live from where they want to work. And the best performing segments of our market are the $1 to $3 million market percentage wise, because those are people who will work off of intellectual capital or don't work, are more flexible, can afford to leave. And that's what we're seeing here. And one thing that so I don't think we're anywhere close to a summit is what I'm trying to say, because there's no going backwards. History never goes backwards. It always goes forwards. Normal is never what normal was, ever, and it's not going to be this time either. And just the inflow of money just keeps coming. So one thing that I wanted to, how do I do this? Share screen? Is this working?
Love that.
Not yet.
Okay, so check this out. This is $8 billion extra dollars were spent. I'm sorry, $9 billion extra dollars were spent in our markets in H2 of last year.
I'm not.
Sorry?
You don't see the your screenshot yet.
And I'll go ahead and share it on my screen.
Okay, sorry.
Bear with us 1 second here.
Yeah, the other one. This one's not bad, actually. Okay, yeah. So I consider H2 of last year kind of the start of the COVID economy. Comparing the whole year to all of 2020, 2019 doesn't really work because there's a big disruption. But if we start comparing the second half, which is when behaviors related to COVID really started, we see an extra $9 billion spent in the Tri-County area. And that has not, that's a 47% increase. And if we go to the other chart that you were just on, this is actually something I've been putting out every month. I call it the scorecard. Oh, that was January. You can put up February. February, I haven't released yet, so you guys are seeing it first. So these are enormous percentage gains across the board. So it hasn't abated. What was interesting in February is that the condo market actually as a percentage outperformed single family homes in terms of increases year over year. And this is something I've been mentioning, is that I feel that single family homes were the reflexive response in a pandemic. You feel like not safe, you want space, it's single family. But not everyone wants to live in a house. People like condos. And the condo market has been in decline for years. So now it's interesting time. It's inflected. So anyway, long story short, I think it's just begun. I think that our region has all the ingredients to be one of the new epicenters of what I think is going to be a more multipolar world. And here we are, exciting times.
So you're saying that, oops, let's go back to that. Anna speaks much more quickly than I can.
Sure.
So let's break this thing down. So we're looking here, condo transaction volume by county. So
Yep.
You're saying that the volume of condos in Miami-Dade over $1 million sales price rose by 165.6%.
Yeah, February versus February, correct.
And the condo sales below $1 million rose only 14.6%.
Correct. And this is because the flight of capital or of people here is it's the same, it's analogous to the flight of capital. It's people who can afford to work remotely, who can work remotely, are the ones who are coming to our region. I mean, the whole market's getting a boost, but it is disproportionate in the $1 to $3 million range. This is part of that K-shaped recovery that's going on.
And likewise, the numbers are similar in Broward and in Palm Beach. And this is comparing the second half of 19 to the second half of 20.
No, this is February to February. And the previous one I sent you was January to January. And then the other chart shows like the not so pretty chart. That one's not formatted, shows second half of 2020 versus second half of 2019.
So Jim, a little bit where you see the under the million and the over million, I think just for your viewers, which I think they know, only 5% of the transactions in South Florida are over $1 million. So the number of transactions is relatively small, but the premium and the intensity that's happening now, you're seeing. So in a sense, where we were selling 50% more, 75% more, but then the price, the average price, the luxury, the uber luxury market is really driving this. So when you put that combination, so it doesn't look so strong because the lower price is probably more of an average price, but the upper tier is getting so swayed by the uber luxury market and it's swinging it a little bit more. And that's what you all know and feel. You've never seen so many 20 million, 30 million, $40 million sales that you've been seeing happening. In one time, I think when I did the numbers, maybe over $20 million, there were 50 deals in a whole year, a few years back. And now it seems like there's 50 deals a month almost in those price ranges, but there's not, but it feels like that.
Wow.
Exactly, I would agree. And that's part of the momentum cycle too, because those things get headlined and feeds the perception. You know, Mayor Suarez has been doing a great job with the whole tech thing and on Twitter and all those organic viral messages that are going out. But you know what? Momentum, it creates reality, and it's just begun. It's just begun.
Right.
You have all these tech guys.
I'll give you one more thought, Jim. And I think I heard Bruce Berkowitz, he manages a $9 billion fair home market. I heard Eddie Lambert, the Sears guy that took over, and I heard Wilbur Ross, all on the same day, billionaires. And this was about 4 or 5 years ago. And Bruce Berkowitz had moved from Boston into Miami and Coral Gables. Eddie Lambert obviously lives on Indian Creek, and Wilbur Ross on Palm Beach Island. And Bruce Berkowitz said what I thought is now relatively famous, that F&F is going to drive the financial markets. He says finance and fun. He says that Hong Kong will be replaced by Singapore. I mean, London may be replaced by Dubai, and New York may be replaced by South Florida or Miami. And that prediction is starting to come true, where we're like Elvis. I mean, we used to be an average city, priced average and everything else. And now we've kind of left the building and we're moving to a top tier, not only US city, but probably an international city.
So live in the sun, work in the cloud. Huh? Is that what you're saying?
Hey, right? Say that again, Jim. That's a good quote.
That's great.
Live in the sun, work in the cloud.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, this is so interesting. And I guess they bring their friends with them, huh? So it's sort of like copycat, huh? Mm-hmm. And then, wow, gosh, I got goosebumps. Isn't this interesting? What a shift. Whew. Good thing we live here. COVID impact on South Florida real estate has been well documented. After the initial shock, huh? We didn't know if we were going to be able to show properties or sell them. The market surged dramatically through 2020 due to the combination of low interest rates and low mortgage rates, fast pivoting realtors and domestic buyers escaping high tax and restrictive guidelines. In general, how do you see the slow return to the normal life impacting the market this year? Well, we've almost covered that question. I think we really hit on it, huh? It's interesting. Number 3, for the remainder of 2021, please pick one Broward, South Palm Beach neighborhood you will believe will see the most growth in price and in sales, and one you think might take a step back this year. So for our panelists in 2021, pick one, either Broward or Palm Beach, South Palm Beach neighborhood, maybe market segment, that will see either the most growth and another that you might think takes a little step back. Who wants to jump in?
I'll jump in just for a moment. We all, from a panelist standpoint, had a conversation a little bit about this, but this is about inventory. If we had more, we would sell more. The areas that will slow down are those that are without inventory. The sellers don't want to sell, so markets are expanding. And maybe what would have been considered less than prime, I use waterfront as an example. And to double up on what Anna was saying, I think areas with luxury condominiums are, that were on the back burner that have started to see some velocity are going to pick up dramatically. I would imagine because they don't, the single family home opportunities are gone or people don't want them and they're back to being social.
Interesting. Anna, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I'm going to agree on that. I think that this sort of flow of people is not going to abate. So I think that our luxury condo market, which had taken such a beating for years, I think is actually poised for an upswing because there is still a lot of luxury condo inventory because there's a massive buildup before COVID. We had record high levels of inventory of luxury condos before COVID. It was kind of a disaster, and this is saving the market. So that may actually be where the upswing is, the volume upswing.
Anna, are the people purchasing these residences from out of the area? I'm guessing.
I'm guessing also. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm guessing they're either relocating down here for work. Businesses are moving. Yeah, this is not fueled by in-place local demand. It can't be. It's too much of a quick inflection point. It has to be coming from somewhere.
And I would piggyback on Anna's point is that we have not had the South American and Central American market due to the immigration issues and due to the COVID issues. So that was of Miami and Broward, I think, got a benefit of that. Was 25-30% of our market. So we replaced it with the Northeast, with Illinois, with Californians. And so you are seeing it. So if you get that market opening back up, I think that's definitely going to fuel the condominium market. But you guys are the best here. I mean, you're the master brokers, you're the seasoned veterans, you're really the cream de la cream of our business. You all know that the best appreciation markets in the long run are the scarcest commodities. So there is a gap always between luxury and waterfront and maybe golf course. To some set also, we got to watch the golf courses today because taking them away from the people. But literally, so east and you're seeing that drives better than west. Saying that, there's no question that the inventory and the pricing of the West, I mean, you're seeing Andrews, you're seeing the Bridges, you're seeing some new developments that are coming. I don't think those are the higher appreciation, but those are the high demand because people want new. So I think you need to act, and I do think, and somebody's mentioned, I think Tim Singer here, Fort Lauderdale is positioned in the sweet spot between high-priced Miami-Dade that has blown the records off of average price per square foot and what I call the new sizzle of Palm Beach that really has been kind of on fire the last year. And Broward sits in the middle and is still the bargain with light Los Angeles. So I think you're going to see some juice in the Fort Lauderdale market that you haven't seen before. That's going to be pressured from Dade. And then they won't want to go to the prices that are now skyrocketing in Palm Beach. So I think you guys, your master broker for them, and you individuals, I think, are primed for probably the best run coming forward.
Tim Singer writes here, what price level will we see the most change once the herd immunity is achieved and people feel comfortable traveling again? What price level will we see the most change once herd immunity is achieved?
I think you're going to get limited by interest rates. Interest rates are starting to rise, and affordability at the lower end. People can only, the metrics and the numbers of mortgages. So they're not going to. So salaries are going to get limited, and you may get some capping off of prices and affordability, although it's still an affordable market. So I do think that the wealthy, if what Anna's saying, and the demographic shift, that may still perform very well due to the scarcity of and the high demand of those individuals coming with real wealth.
I was meeting with our former CEO of the Realtor Association of Greater Fort Lauderdale. Many of you know Dan Lindley. And
yeah.
Met with Dan on Thursday morning. I was not aware, or it was Tuesday morning, I was not aware that they're moving the passenger rail to the east FEC track. Dan says this has already been in the works, meaning that we'll have a East Line passenger rail connecting Miami-Dade to Palm Beach.
Nice.
So
No,
that's really super important because that's where the concentration of business and population is on the east side. So the three counties are collaborating to provide better mass transportation connecting the business districts here in the Tri-County area. Anna, can you weigh in on that, or?
I'm agreeing 100% with what Mike said. I think that herd immunity isn't going to, the existence of it rather when it comes, is not going to make a huge impact on the trends that we're benefiting from, meaning the jurisdictions that are hostile to capital are going to get increasingly hostile to capital and keep kicking out people with money. And we're going to keep receiving that regardless of herd immunity. That's a major, major force that's going on. I mean, I have a client, a commercial real estate guy, was from California, and he fled like 2 years ago. And he said, oh, I got ahead of the curve. They keep talking about a retroactive exit tax. Like all those things are very real. So I don't think that herd immunity is going to be a factor for the luxury market at all. Because again, those are people who can work remotely and they're trying to find jurisdictions more friendly towards capital. We have one of the best airports in the country here. I mean, all the ingredients are here. So I don't see it so much for a price attainable, more affordable housing, perhaps, but that's actually not the trend that we're benefiting from. We're not getting an influx of people buying affordable things. That's not where the action is. So I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. That would be something new that comes up when herd immunity comes. So I'm not sure.
We got a question here. It says from Tim Kinsler, the wealthy are getting wealthier in addition to primary residence luxury. Are we likely to see demand increase here in South Florida? Are we likely to see the second home and vacation home demand increase in South Florida?
Yes, that's all part of it. I'm glad that he mentioned this because this is all part of this K-shaped recovery. So COVID has accelerated a few trends, economic trends that were in place before COVID. And one of them is America's widening wealth gap, which unfortunately was in place before COVID. And now how COVID has been handled and where the job losses have been has exacerbated that because the job losses are overwhelmingly at lower income scales. And then all the actions of the central bank have benefited people with financial assets, which are not lower income people typically. So it's just widening.
So Jim, if you talk about the listing opportunities and in that same comment, the moratorium for mortgage foreclosures was extended to June. There are a number of property owners that have not been paying their properties in probably the lower end that after June may have to do short sales. So I would say to your group, remember what we did in 08. And I don't think it's going to be the same numbers, but I think there will be some opportunities of delayed payments along the way. The second thing that's happening, again, for not the luxury market is the evictions for renters now has expired or about to expire maybe in March. And so you may see some turnover again in that lower end where I hate to say it, but distress, divorce, death, the motivational factors of life are going to start coming in to the marketplace, that there may be some more opportunities that may open up some deals. So there may be some deals there that you maybe could ferret out and get some inventory in the future.
So Bobby Ocean writes here, Elon Musk is in talks with the city of Fort Lauderdale to build a river, another huge news story. And I know Palace was out with
Where are you?
Musk in Las Vegas, and they're discussing that's to move the rail. That's to move the rail to the east, and the passenger train would go through the tunnel under the new river, and yet the freight would have to go over the bridge, which is very infrequent. So yes, that's accurate. That's in the works, which is pretty exciting. Let's move on. Anna, as borders open, global travel resumes. Do you anticipate a surge in foreign buyers? I think we've covered this. The South Florida market. If so, which countries in which areas of the region will be coming first to South Florida?
I mean, if I'm going to guess on this, I would say that it's going to be the countries and regions that had been a presence here before COVID because they have established relationships, family members, communities, et cetera, et cetera. So their action has been paused because of COVID. And I would expect for it to resume because again, all the reasons and factors that were in place for them to come initially are still here. And now, if not more, because there's also going to be this emerging quality of life divide and how people have handled COVID and what your daily quality of life is. And we're winning on that front too. So I would imagine that, yeah, the groups that had been buying here most heavily before from Latin America will come back once they're able to, because all the reasons are in place and all their friends and family are here. They have all their stuff here.
So you're saying how Florida has handled COVID as compared to where they are living today, that this will expedite their process of investing more in real estate in Florida
That's
South.
the reason. Look, I mean, I grew up in New York City, so I have many friends who are either coming down here or friends of friends that I meet up when they're down here, and they're so relieved to be here. They say this is great, we can live, and they don't want to go back. And it just they feel good when they're here, and they don't want to live in some, again, not to be political, but come on, people want to be able to walk in the street, get some sunlight, enjoy life, and they're feeling, not everyone, but the ones who are feeling oppressed where they are thinking more kindly upon South Florida also for that reason.
We're the sixth borough.
Yeah, it's great.
Let's move forward. It says here, related ISG recent condo delivery analysis showed dramatic decline in condo supply east of I-95 in Miami, Broward from 2001 to 2030 is projected. Nearly 60,000 condos were delivered between 01 and 10, about 20,000 between 11 and 20. So let me repeat that. Nearly 60,000 condos were delivered between 01 and 10, 60,000, about 20,000 between 11 and 20. So a third, 2/3 less. In the current decade, only 1,531 are projected to be constructed, leaving only 690 standing developer units for sale in those counties. What are we going to make of this? What does it mean for South Palm Beach new condo market? Who wants to jump in?
I know, Anna, this is directed at you, but I'm going to jump in. It makes you really want to get into the development business and start buying property for nothing and building condos.
Go ahead, Carolyn.
I think that's it. I mean, I think there are opportunities. You know, it's interesting. There are opportunities for developers to build and deliver. You know, the great challenge is going to be that the construction costs have increased dramatically as well. So it almost offs. You know, it's a little bit of a catch-22.
You know, Jim, and from Miami, you know that historically, the last 5 years or so, the Miami MLS sold more condominiums, the brokerage community, than we sell single family homes. Miami has gone vertical, less so in Broward and a lot less in Palm Beach, but we only have one place to go, which is up because there's no more land. So I think you're going to see a vertical growth as we move forward, and you're going to continue to see it because that's the highest and best use for a lot of this real estate. And as the population, we're 6.5 million people from 120 miles long, from Homestead to Jupiter, and they're not making any more land. So to house them all, we're going to go vertical.
Right. I think just to jump in too, I think there are a lot of, there's product, I think, from Broward, North Broward, all the way up to Palm Beach, West Palm in particular, that are already in sales or under construction. I think we'll see some really good velocity as opposed to brand new starts in those aspects.
How about the redevelopment of these large old malls and that sort of thing that are basically defunct? Anybody can weigh in on that, tearing down these structures, putting up residential multi-use? I'm learning more about that.
I think in Miami, you look at Cocoa Walk. I mean, Cocoa Walk, that was a entertainment district, got knocked down, put office building, kind of the live, work, and play. So you're going to start seeing creative ways to do it. The malls that we all grew up with are probably dead with the whole new consumerism. So, but we'll find replacements. They'll figure it out. Some will go broke. New people will come in, and it's really a demographic shift that I think will be very exciting.
And I look at, our developer from the Ritz-Carlton Miami Beach. I mean, they started this, they saw this a year and a half, 2 years ago, and they started buying up malls for the intent of repurposing. And whether that repurposing is apartment buildings or entertainment centers, but it's been a gobble up of these huge retail block centers that they're buying for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, I know it's happening here in Pompano Beach.
But I see that at national, it's a big national trend more than here.
So interesting. So Carolyn, as the inventory of luxury South Florida real estate has fallen sharply, Gulf Hill buyers seem to shift their attention to luxury condos. I think we covered it.
Yes.
See the trend continue. I think we know the answer. Next, average sales prices for Broward condos held steady for most of 2020 and then rose sharply in October, November at the end of 2020. What do you attribute the rise to? I think, and is it sustainable? I think we've covered that. I think we can connect those dots, can't we?
We can, for sure.
Inventory, more buyers coming into the marketplace. Anybody who'd like to comment on that? What's going to happen with prices? Is the price rise sustainable?
They're predicting not as high of acceleration. And the question that I think will be the interest rate rise. But if inventory, and hopefully inventory will open up. I know it's not so far. So maybe with the opening of COVID by the summer or the fall, we may see more inventory. With the rise of interest rates, that may slow the pricing process down, but it's not going to go backwards. I mean, it's only gone backwards on single family homes in South Florida in my 40 years in that 08 market. But even in the other downturns, it was flat and it was a little bit more pause than it was a decline.
Interesting.
I agree with that.
Commercial markets, Class A office space, what's happening? We have a question here. How do we see the commercial space, residential income here in our South Florida marketplace?
The good news is there's leases, long-term leases, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So we don't really know the impact, but those companies couldn't get out of those leases. And so you haven't seen the real dramatic thing. But I think you're going to see, hopefully the demographic growth will absorb it. I don't think you're going to see anybody building office buildings, but to see related company of New York buy the premium office spaces in Palm Beach County, 4 of the big buildings spending $500 million on them. He sees something that we don't maybe see, that all of those high-end firms that are coming down for those financial want premium space, and they're going to fill it and take it up. So, you know, where there's distress, there's opportunity, and it depends on where you're going. But there's no question that less people will be working if we were stagnant today than in the future. And there's probably going to be a lag there, both in retail and in office. Industrial's booming, hotels are suffering, probably going to see some foreclosures. And the apartments, I think, are status quo and staying the same. So depends on the segment of the market that you're talking about. But office and retail are probably the biggest shifts and opportunities that could come along.
I'd like to add to that a little bit, because we also have, you know, while there will be compaction, certainly we have so much, Florida's become, South Florida in particular, has become a hotspot for relocating companies. So we have another new trend, and we can offer really, Class A opportunities and really blocks of space. It's not just a suite here and trying to find the best parking. Now there's prime time available for huge companies that are coming down, and there are a lot of them. And it's not, it started this year, but it's only snowballing.
Anna, you're nodding your head. Yes, tell us.
Yeah, I'm nodding. I would also add that because we're a new city, or all of our cities that have the Tri-County area has a relatively small office square footage footprint compared to New York City, for instance. We're actually very well, it's a good thing, because we're actually very well positioned to build offices with post-pandemic requirements ground up. It's prohibitively expensive to retrofit an office building so that windows open, for instance. You can't do it. What's the value of that property that you decimated it? But we can build ground up to accommodate post-COVID requirements in terms of windows opening, air ventilation, in terms of hybrid models of work. So it's actually to our benefit that we're relatively young that way.
That's so interesting.
Excellent.
What a perspective. Wow. Zillow seems to be impinging on agents bit by bit. How do you think the platform's presence will impact our South Florida marketplace moving forward?
I think it's a game changer, and I think we need to be aware of it. I don't think we should be afraid of it, and that fear should not dominate us, but I think we should be understanding that now in Miami, South Florida, from $200,000 to $800,000, you click on a Zillow, they'll give you an instant offer. We've tested it. They'll call you back in a half an hour, an hour. So if you've got a home in that price range or no, you may want to. So it's something to be able to overcome and know. What I believe that's going to happen is with their drive, they've already just the other day, they called us up and said, we still want the IDX feed from you, Kai's and Illustrated, and we'll promote your listings with your name brands on. Our CIO says they're just using us to get the data right because they've got an antiquated system where they got feeds from all wrong and they're trying to become an IDX. But we're working with the MLS. I just had a call with the vice chairman, Jeff Levine, who's to change the IDX rules to say that they were good for 20 years ago, but should we at least put the name, the email address, and the phone number prominently in all IDX feeds of the listing agent? Because I think there is some confusion by these big portals. They think they're clicking and getting the listing agent. They're not. And if we have an industry say we should be protecting our industry consumer, we think that's a good policy to have. So John Coyle is the chairman of the MLS. So I think they're going to move to a salaried agent like Redfin because they're going to have the source. They're trying to squeeze it. They're trying to do the iBuyer, buy the home and resell. They're going to try to list now. They can't list FSBOs anymore because they're a realtor on IDX. So they're going to do a discounted model. So there's going to be a lot of noise there and definitely a little bit of disruption. But at the end of the day, the local knowledge, the local expertise, the relationships built, they'll win all day. And it's probably a lower market than it is the higher market that Anna's been talking about. That was the download. We're running out of time.
No, well, that was great. And actually Jim, I'll let you leave because I'm dying to hear the answer for the next question.
Well, where are we on the last? I think that's that was the last question that I have here. Have I missed one? Do we have any questions?
Well, it's just, Zillow. I know that you're talking about MLS and IDX, but I think the Zillow, Sell Direct, there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Right. I think they're definitely trying to disrupt. They're a $30 billion company. They got a lot of money. They bought DocuSign. They bought, Loop maybe, and they bought now a title company. They got a mortgage company. So they're coming in. There's no question they're a broker, and they're trying to become an efficient broker and they're disrupting our commission structure. So, I think we really need to think through where they were an advertising vehicle yesterday. Now they're a competitor that we need to be able to compete with head on. And I think we can and will, just as we are to those other models. But they're definitely, you haven't seen the last of them yet.
It's an interesting, many of you may know or remember, some of us won't. In 1999, when I was local president, there was a company called Property America, and the Fort Lauderdale Association of Realtors filed a federal lawsuit because they were scraping our data. And NAR and FAR at the time joined us in that federal lawsuit, and we won. And then we just gave it all to them anyway. So there you go.
Well, one good thing is they're coming into our world, and they're going to have to act like brokers, and they're going to have those rules. And so maybe we can change those rules collectively.
Good idea. Good idea.
This has been so interesting. Any comments, questions?
There is one last question on our chat.
Final question before we wrap up. Jason says, to Carolyn's point, we also have an excellent rental housing for employees of companies moving here, particularly in Lauderdale.
It's a great.
You want to comment on that? Our rental housing opportunities for employees? This is from Tim Singer.
Well, I think there are. I mean, I think there are, smaller micro units that are available. And I think just from a downtown walkability, I think Fort Lauderdale is certainly a haven to be able to offer that. So I think it's, it's a plus for any new migrating companies. They can, offer the full platform from office, retail to housing for their staff.
Excellent. Any closing comments from our panelists, from our guests, our members?
Hey, Jim, I think there was one more question. Lilia Scott had a question. Will we see the interest rates going down again?
No.
See how easy that was?
I mean, you got too much money flowing out. You've got too much economy coming in.
Billions of dollars, right?
Yeah. So you got a lot of money, federal money, a lot of money, cash sitting on the bench. You got a lot of momentum in the economy improving, and that normally does make interest rates rise. Anna's probably the expert. What do you think, Anna?
Yeah, I was just saying things seldom stay at all-time lows, and interest rates have been at all-time lows. Yes, I do not see them going lower, but it's such a weird time in that market. I even hesitate to say that because, very few things in history have never happened before, and we've never had negative sovereign debt. And we've had record high levels of negative sovereign debt, which is a broader conversation, but there's about $18 trillion of negative debt in the world right now. And that's a very strange construct, and it's never happened before in the history of money. So how all this plays out, it's a little bit strange. Like the Federal Reserve had to keep artificially low interest rates, or there would have been a massive crash in debt because we had the highest level ever of corporate debt, the last one before junk leading into this. So the whole thing is like a little bit of a house of cards right now with US debt. Having said that, if I had to bet, I don't think they're going to go lower, but it's a strange time with debt. But no, it's still in the historically low region. So everyone take advantage of that because probably it will go up.
3/8 of a point of rise in interest rates needs a 5% adjustment in price. That's a good number to know. 3/8 of an interest rate rise equals a 5% adjustment in price. So buy now when the interest rates are low. As they move up, there's going to be less buying power for those pricing.
Of course, it doesn't impact so much the wealthy in the luxury space, but it certainly impacts, a huge segment of the middle market, whether it's 200 to 800, 900, that marketplace definitely.
Yeah. 70% of the units sold in South Florida are under 500,000.
Okay. So that affects that whole group of people.
Yeah.
So folks, we are very blessed to be master brokers. We really are. And so let's leverage these relationships that we have with each other. It's so important. Let's reach out to each other. And it's quite remarkable. While I don't do much real estate sales at all, I like to say that I don't make a very good broker, but I make a damn good assistant. And I'm going to stick to that story. But I can say I reached out to one of our fellow master broker forums on a particular situation where my oldest boy's good friend from college just bought a beautiful little brand new townhome. And I really believe it was because of the relationship and being a master broker that his good friend Sean now resides in that. He's in his first week. So let's really leverage the relationships and we can sound things off of each other. We're very blessed to have Carolyn's leadership and Jason taking care of the day-to-day business for us. We appreciate that. And to have great people like Anna, like Mike with us, and Carolyn sharing these thoughts. And let's not take Mandarin Oriental for granted, folks. There are very, 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 very few places in the world that have a Mandarin Oriental. So let's really wrap our arms around that and celebrate that Boca Raton is the spot for Mandarin Oriental. Carolyn, thanks so much. And for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim, and for leading a wonderful discussion. Anna, Mike, thank you for your time, your amazing panelists, your clear visions of the market and the months ahead. Gerard and the Mandarin Oriental team, thank you for your generous sponsorship and your ongoing support of South Florida's real estate broker community. Master brokers, I hope you found this discussion to be useful and informative and fun. If you missed any portion of it, we will post and email links to the recorded video. When you sign off, please make sure to like and follow MBF on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Good night, everyone. Stay safe. Keep selling.
Great job, Carolyn.
Thank you, Jason.
Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.